Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our 15-day backpacking trip to Switzerland, the dreamland for a lot of travelers. We started our trip from Geneva, our first destination. We landed here from Bangalore. Day one is exploring the city, a beautiful city. What an amazing infrastructure. We loved every bit of it. There were three separate lanes, one for walkers, runners, one for cyclists, and the third one for vehicles, of course, because the vehicle movement is lesser in comparison to India, but of course, a lot of people take bikes and in general walk a lot. In the evenings, you see leisure around 5 p.m. or and beyond. A lot of runners on the path. You see, you can just watch all kinds of people of all ages just running around and fit and happy and healthy. It was just a treat to watch. We spent our evenings on the beautiful blue Geneva Lake, and of course, food was a bit of a challenge initially because not just of what we would get to eat, but the cost factor as well. In general, we would share one particular hot dog of maybe 7 or 8 francs, at times 10 francs, which was quite okay. But then eating out was typically a challenge in all the places that we went. But 7 p.m. is the limit. After 7, you see shops closing in, you see restaurants, few restaurants open, but then mostly the departmental stores, they were closed. We stayed at a very, very cute house of Miss Nina and our friend Olaf. We really loved the hosts, and we still are in touch with them. This is typically a one-time buffet that we had in Coop. Coop and Migros are two major departmental stores which also offer food, breakfast and lunch to you. You can typically have burgers, you can have ready-made pizzas. You just go home and heat it. There's a lot of variety and of course cost effective. We would grab our breakfast from one of the Coop or Migros stores and have it on the go. We would typically spend around 6 to 7 with a drink and share it. 6 to 7 francs, which is around 600 to 700 Indian rupees, which was quite okay. We had budgeted for it. This was one of the Favager chocolate stores, but then we just went and we took a flavor of it because major chocolate stuff was coming in Zurich. This is the infamous Jedu. Geneva is typically it has a French culture. People speak a lot of French because it borders with France, and this is where our trip started, France border, and then we went up till Germany border in Zurich. This was one of the best experiences here in Geneva. We took a motorboat for a ride, and I was very happy because I have never even rode a jet ski in my life, because in India you always have a companion with you, but then here it was all free. You just go, and we typically paid 30 francs for this, but then the experience was phenomenal. This is what I just told you. We used to take a pizza or a burger for the dinner, and then we used to heat it and eat it. It was quite enough, loaded with cheese and chicken or pork or whatever you wish to like. The next day, after 2 days, we took a beautiful journey towards the mountains. It was time for us to visit the Zermatt region, and our first train ride was phenomenal. By mistake, we went into the first class. We took a pass for the second class. We had a travel pass which we had pre-booked, so we had all the trains, intercity or within the city. We had all the ferries, we had all the bus transfers included in that. So the train was very beautiful, and the infrastructure was mind blowing. This was our stay in a small village called Tash, uh, right next to Zermatt. There was a daily shuttle, 24/7 shuttle to Zermatt, which is our most most famous mountain town in Switzerland. Very cute village, very peaceful, very quiet. It was summertime in June, so the the daylight used to stay at till around 9:30. This was typically around 7 p.m. We were just sitting and watching the mountains while having our uh, evening snack, and then a small hike just to see a trail that was going right next to where we were staying. Just exploring the flora, just exploring, just taking a feel of the place, how the next 4 days are going to be. Uh, really in love with this particular village. You see these chalets. We were staying in one of these buildings made of wood. What amazing color! What amazing landscape. Again, we also used to cook our food. We used to buy some sausages and some chips and etc. from the supermarket coop, and we used to cook it with bread. This was the next day ride to Zermatt. Mind-blowing things to come, and of course, if you come to Zermatt and you don't hike, you don't do anything in Zermatt. So we started hiking. We saw Sunega from Zermatt for around, typically showing around 5 kilometers. But then when we started, it just went on. We met a lot of locals. They also insisted on few paths to take, but then those were quite long. So reaching Sunega on top, it took us around 6 hours, 6 to 7 hours. Yes, water sources were there in between. We were also carrying food. So hike was pretty nice. It was drizzling a bit. This is the Matterhorn. Going to be seen quite clearer in the coming footages. But then yes, it started drizzling. But then by the time it started, we already reached Sunega. But then what we had planned didn't go as per plan. We had planned to take the gondola, the cable car back to Zermatt, but then the last cable car was at 6, so it didn't happen. We had to again descend down. Very tiring day, but then me being me, the next day I had to see the Matterhorn in its full face in the bright sun. The weather was with me, so a couple of hours of hike again to see the beautiful Matterhorn, and then evenings was more leisure in the Zermatt main market. Again, a beautiful market. Bought a couple of souvenirs, watching the Matterhorn and having the not so good cheese fondue, but then we had to have it. If you're in Switzerland, you have to have this. But you might like, but we didn't. But that's okay. It's an experience. This was footage from 5 a.m. In Zermatt, because we had to see the sunrise on the Matterhorn peak, and amazing experience. Obviously no locals, but then a lot of tourists, a lot of Asian tourists, very less Indians, almost nil early this morning. But then we had to have this experience, because how many times in our lives are we going to visit Switzerland? What a sight! What a sight! Made some beautiful memories right there. We spent around an hour or something just gazing at this beauty, loving every bit of it. And then we made a move. So one very important and astonishing aspect was the recycling, the waste disposal. It was amazing to know that they had such high standards of disposing waste and high fines if you don't abide by it. These views started around 8:30 a.m. for the Ghungraale train from Zermatt to Ghungraale, which is the great white north of Zermatt, where we could see the entire 360-degree mountain ranges. What a beautiful uphill train ride with mountains all over, starting from brown and then ending up in white. And towards that corner, you can see the Matterhorn, and the entire landscape became white, and it was all snow. And when we got down, clicking a lot of photos, but then astonished to see such huge glaciers, such huge chunks of ice. Matterhorn always covered in snow with its peak, but then we had that Ghungraale Glacier, which was almost like someone has slid onto it with a ski. This was the museum. It showed the entire history of Matterhorn, people who had climbed it. This was a little fun activity that was there, a VR activity arranged for us, all included in the Ghungraale ticket, which costed us 132 franc, which is around 50% discount because of the pass that we had, the travel pass. Otherwise it is around the double of it, 264. On the way back, it started drizzling. We were lucky we could see clear views and it was sunny up there, but then when we came back, it was all wet. It had a very satisfactory day. I completed my workouts as usual. Really want to feel active and stay active in all my journeys. Our next destination was the Interlaken area, the Bern area, and we stayed at a village called Eschby Spiez, which was in the Spiez area, and a couple of stations from Interlaken. And this was a huge house from Monica, and hosted by Monica and Daniel. Lovely people, and look at the landscape. It was a countryside arrangement with a horse stable next to us. We had a very special milk parlor also right next to our house, and this was a typical morning. Such a lovely treat for us. How lucky we were. And of course, if you're in Switzerland, have to get a run to get a feel of the place. Empty roads, wet roads, cold, and run. Again, took train rides. We had a big agenda in Interlaken. First, we went to Grindelwald. This is Grindelwald. It was dry, but then with overcast. But still, look at this beauty. We went and inquired about Grindelwald first to get a view from the high ground, but then it was too cloudy, so we ditched it, and in fact went to this amazing place, the Glacier Canyon, and it had a very amazing spider web in between where it was tied to the two parallel rocks, and you could just walk on it. It was very sturdy. You could lie on it. We just lied on it. We just we spent around half an hour there, more than that. And down we had that gushing river which was flowing, and up you could see the entire canyon just joining together, and it was pretty cold there. But then what an experience. We've never seen this anywhere in India or abroad. But then it had small waterfalls, turquoise color water, such amazing piece of nature, feeling so alive there. But then the entire area to walk was pretty well maintained. We paid around 17 francs for this, but then beautiful adventure. This was the milk parlor I was talking about. I had I think couple of liters during my stay. I just fill it, pay, and drink it right from the bottle. fresh raw milk, and if you're in Switzerland, you have to taste milk. And this was one of the best experiences. Next day, Lauterbrunnen, and the waterfall that you see back there is one of the famous waterfalls, the Staubbach Falls, and they also give you a chance to go up and watch the falls up close. And I went there. It was a short hike, but then pretty cool. The landscape, Lauterbrunnen has been one of the best and most beautiful places of our entire Switzerland trip, followed by this piece of beauty, the Oeschinensee, or the Oeschinenblick. This was at Kandersteg, and we took a train. We used to take a train from Spiez to Interlaken, and from Interlaken to wherever we wanted. And then this was Oeschinensee. We took a gondola ride to the topmost point, and then from there just a couple of, maybe a kilometer and a half of walking. And then this adventure, this you might have seen on a lot of videos, this slide, and you could control the speed. You could go fast, you could go slow, and Poonam had a couple of rounds of this. I just had one, and then it started raining, but then great fun. But then we also decided to walk down from Oeschinensee to the Kandersteg station to take the train back to Interlaken, and then from Interlaken there was a bus number 62 to Spiez, and then again a walk back to our house. Around 20 to 25,000 steps every day, and what an amazing trip it had been. And this was me, planned a rest day, but then couldn't really sit down. Had to see the peak that was visible from my house, the Niederhorn. And it was a solo adventure, and I started so late that the people who were coming down, they were really surprised to see me. But that's okay, it's Switzerland, anything for the view. So that was the end of our Interlaken trip, and the last phase of our trip was Zurich. And this is Zurich in the evenings. We reached by train, the intercity train, and we were staying with a very beautiful family in the heart of Zurich. Not actually, we were staying near Zug, but then that was also not too far. This is the main busy area of Zurich near Bahnhofstrasse, the very infamous train terminal with a lot of trams. You could see a lot of busy streets, a lot of people, a lot of restaurants, a lot of street style food. Zurich had its own vibe. People chilling around. It was really fun. The best part was the water that we found in Switzerland. So clear, so pristine, you could drink it from anywhere. This part, you might have guessed it right. This is the Lindt Chocolate Museum. Again, one of the topmost experiences of our Switzerland trip. You could taste as much as you want. You could get, or you could grab as many chocolates as you want. There are 3 flavors here to taste unlimited chocolates: the milk chocolate, the white, and the dark. And you could see Poonam just binging upon the white chocolate, which we both love actually. Then they had these little pieces dropping down just to taste, and if you wish to buy, there was a huge shop below the museum. This was these candies that were being distributed. You could have like each flavor, 5 or 6 flavors each. So we had 13-14 chocolates together, and really amazing to see such a beautifully curated experience for all the tourists and travelers. Different ways of gifting you chocolates, and this was, again, I grabbed the orange flavored dark chocolate. Very delicious. This was the shop I was talking about, and Of course, we loved the white chocolate, so we grabbed a lot of white chocolates, and then for our friends and family, a few. And because the cost was a factor, but then who's coming back to Switzerland again? We don't know, we don't guess. So we grabbed quite a lot. This was a typical Zurich evening, very peaceful. It's actually late night. It's beyond 11. We were just walking around on the streets. It was unlike Geneva. Geneva was more quiet. Zurich was more Mumbai-like. The last day was Rhine Falls. Very, very pristine, clear, and whooshy. And a ton of tourists, a typical tourist place. But then I had to go and visit and see and witness the enormity of these falls and the kind of current that they produce, and you could just feel that within your body. It was absolutely amazing. So guys, thanks a lot for watching. If you have any questions, please drop us a comment. Love you all.